Let me set the scene for you. You're exploring Elden Ring, crossing a giant bridge to explore what lies at the top of this magnificent tower. But suddenly, an amorphous blob of a figure materializes from nothing and launches a burning mass of black flames at you. And by the way, no boss health bar has appeared at the bottom of the screen, so you're not even sure what this thing is, let alone what it's called. It jabs at you with its sword in almost a fencing-like maneuver, followed by sweeping around with a lizard-like tail, all while clad in an unsettling, rippling material that appears to have faces stitched in when you look closer. This thing is a godskin, as its attire suggests. Got a thing for skin. Today I will do my best to tell you everything you need to know about the godskins, whose skin that is, and who the glow-eyed queen is that you might have heard so many people talking about. But speaking of things you've heard people talking about, I want to first thank the amazing sponsor of this video, Displate. Displate provides unique posters designed to capture your passions on metal, a refreshing alternative to outdated paper posters or canvases, and have over 2 million artworks available in their catalogue, with officially licensed designs like Elden Ring, Warhammer, The Witcher, and many, many more. Displate is also a platform for artists, as thousands of creators worldwide can share their designs and illustrations to display in your home on a metal canvas. Displates are tool-free and safe for your walls. Each displate has everything you need to set up, no need for drilling, holes, or any of that frustration. Just use the sticker leaf and magnet provided, and you will have mounted your new art in seconds. You can also swap around your displates whenever you want as they detach and reattach. Displate offers fast delivery, arriving in 4 to 5 business days, all printed in the European Union. Also, a new product line has just launched called Displate Textura. Premium prints have 3D contours, tactile textures, and a selective matte and gloss effect to make them stand out as unique wall art. It's now available on hundreds of best-selling displates, and their range will aim to expand in the following months. This month, Displate is celebrating their birthday, and because of that, they want to offer their biggest discount of the year so far. You can get up to a massive 42% off by using my discount code Chalice, or by using the link in the description. Discount will be applied automatically. Thank you so much again to Displate for sponsoring this video, and now, back into the lore we go. You encounter the godskins 7 times in-game, either solo as an apostle or noble, or together as a duo fight. No specific or separate questline is associated with them, but the duo is a compulsory fight in Farum Azula. You do need to defeat them in order to progress the game's story. Let's start with talking about the apostles. These godskins are distinguished by their tall, slim stature and ruffled layers of clothing. They do not wield a sword, but more of a utility weapon. Unique twin blade wielded by godskin apostles, characterized by its disturbing design. One end features a sickle for slicing attacks, while the other boasts a winding spike for boring into flesh. This item has an appropriate name for its purpose, the Godskin Peeler, capable of creating leverage in a victim's skin and reversing the end to finally slice and fillet. And as you may have realised, the godskins wear the skin they harvest. The apostles wear a more frayed quality of skin than their counterparts, but atop their headpiece lies a fittingly head, or rather skin, from someone's face. Pretty grim. In contrast, the godskin nobles brandish a piercing sword, the Godskin Stitcher. The nobles possess skill with the sword unmatched by any lowborn. Despite its size, successive attacks from this weapon are swifter than the eye can follow. Now understanding the double use of the peeler gives new perspective on the Stitcher. One can now view it as a giant sewing needle used to piece together harvested skin into a disturbing patchwork. The description of this weapon also gives us information on the hierarchy of the godskins. The word lowborn hints at a societal structure within them. We can conclude that the nobles hold a higher societal ranking than that of the apostles, who are considered lesser. The physical, sheer size of the nobles, round and shapely, also supports this. To put it plainly, being fat can be representative of affluence, at least historically. For example, in London's industrial period, there was a positive correlation between weight and social status. These guys are eating good because they are highborn. Now, whether this privileged status equates to general royalty in the lands between, or just significance within the Godskin microcosm, is something we will explore in a little bit. Let's return to the fat suit. Robe made by sewing together patches of smooth skin. Subcutaneous fat makes it plump and soft. The word subcutaneous means underneath, and in this context it refers to the layer of fat under your skin. If you've ever seen surgery or a cross-section of the skin, subcutaneous fat is the layer of fat situated below the outer skin but above the muscle. This gives you an idea of how deep the nobles had to slice in order to construct a garment of this skin type. Now, I called it a fat suit because this equipable armour retains the distinctive round body type of a Godskin noble when you wear it. This isn't the first time an enemy's armour is adapted kind of strangely when you wear it. For example, some pieces not only take the helmet, but also the character's hair as well, or just their straight-up face. But returning to my question, are the nobles truly big underneath, or do the clothes contribute to their overall size? Does his outfit make me look fat? Honestly, I'm unsure, as I don't know if it's possible to access their character models separate from their clothing. If you've got any experience with character model and layering in this way, please feel free to add your input in the comments below. But I'm inclined to say it's a bit of both. Notably, during combat with the nobles, they can alter their body shape, puffing out their stomach, inflating like a balloon and increasing their surface area to cannonball around. Granted, human skin can stretch somewhat, but this is absurd, almost fantastical. Perhaps once stitched together, the Godskins imbue their garments with magical properties, allowing them to morph at their command. Interestingly, the Apostles also demonstrate a similar ability. In combat, they can elongate their midsection, increasing their height this time instead of width. With their tall, stretched body, they whip around, almost like how giraffes fight with their necks. And on their model, their anatomy is clearer, suggesting that it is their body that alters its shape and form rather than the skin clothing. But how are they able to do this? We need to return to the noble's robe to find the answer. Nobles are the most ancient apostles who are said to have assimilated inhuman physiology, not unlike the crucible, the Erdtree in its primordial form. So not only does this explain why the nobles are of highborn right, but it also gives us a clue as to why they have tails. Assimilated suggests acquiring non-human features and body parts and functioning in their physiology. Assimilation in biology is the process of breaking food down into nutrients, or as this definition puts it, convert to substances for incorporation into the body. Could the Godskins have consumed lizard-like creatures, absorbing their traits and incorporating them into their bodies? After all, you do find a Godskin noble in Volcano Manor, where the man-serpents roam around. While plausible, it's more likely that these features were developed through evolution rather than consumption, mainly because of the comparison to the Crucible. If you don't know, the Crucible is this ancient power that existed long ago and embodied primordial energy. But what is essential to understand in this context is that all life was once blended together. Picture a time where the distinctions between species were much less pronounced. Creatures possessed traits like tails, wings, horns, and even the ability to breathe fire. In fact, the concept of species probably didn't even exist back then. And that is why the nobles are likened to the creatures of the Crucible, primarily because of the tail, but additionally, nobles' presence, which is that big belly puffing out move, is reminiscent of the incantation breath, one of the aspects of the Crucible. The expanding throat pouch looks like the noble's inflated body. So we've established that the nobles are an ancient form of apostle, occurring way before the standard Godskin apostle. However, with no disrespect to them, they also have supernatural abilities. But how did the Godskins come to be in the first place? Who created them? Well, we do know who their leader was. Sacred Sword of the Dusk-Eyed Queen, who controlled the Godskin apostles before her defeat at the hands of Malekith. This character is called the Dusk-Eyed Queen, also more commonly referred to as the Gloam-Eyed Queen in other descriptions. The word gloam means dusk, as in the time period in the evening, so the queen's eyes supposedly resemble the twilight sky, a blend of purple and deep blue. There are multiple points of interest in this description. Firstly, she is described as controlling the Godskin apostles, which is curious wording. Were they naturally influenced to join her cause, or mentally dominated to do her bidding? And secondly, there was a confrontation between the Glomide Queen and Malekith, the loyal beast protector, half-brother and shadow of Marika. There was not one demigod who did not fear him. Despite Malekith's fearsome reputation, the Queen engaged in combat with him, and as expected, she lost. But let's take a few steps back. Why did this altercation happen in the first place? To do so, we need to explore the role of the black fire magic called Black Flame that the Godskins use. One of the incantations, Black Flame Ritual, tells us that the Glomide Queen led the apostles. It is said she was an Empyrean chosen by the Fingers. This is an incredible revelation. Empyreans are demigods with immense potential to transcend into gods, shaping new world orders. And if these rumours are true, then the Glomide Queen is placed among a select few: Rani, Miquella, Malenia, and of course Marika. Which must mean she was born a demigod with power recognised by the Two Fingers. Who on earth was this queen? She may have been related to characters we know of in this game, as to be a demigod you must have had one parent who is fully a god, and at this moment in time the only person we know of that status is Marika, and by extension her other form, Radagon. And we know that there are multiple demigods in this universe beyond the main characters of the base game who are Marika's children, but we don't know their names, so it is possible that the Glomide Queen was one of those children. But what happened to cause her to die to her alleged mother's Empyrean shadow, Malekith? Well, that might have to do with what a Godskin is. Consider again the Godskin noble's robe, known for their 7-face aprons. Look closer at these faces. Each one possesses golden eyes. Eye colour is quite important in this game, and these eyes bear a striking resemblance to characters connected to gods or demigods. This excellent video by Zuli the Witch details the relevance of golden eyes and eyes in general. I highly recommend this video. All the eyes for every character are displayed really clearly, and they bring up some great theories about their meaning. As a side note, I wanted to do a mini section here on one of the strangest yet jovial locations in Elden Ring, which is Dominula, the Windmill Village, infamous for its sinister dancing festival. And for the most part, these celebrants are too caught up in the party to pay attention to you. But what is it that they are celebrating? And why is there a Godskin apostle here? The village's name, Dominula, can explain the nature of the festival and its participants. Derived from the Latin Dominulus, meaning little mistress, the name suggests that this is a women-led congregation specifically focusing on younger women, which is supported by the celebrants' attire. All the women wear festive garbs, but there is a different version of the set reserved exclusively for the younger women, the blue festive garb. Use of this garb, dyed in a stunning blue, is only permitted for the young maids who play the central role in the festival. This festival may serve as a rite of passage, a coming-of-age ceremony for these young women. The word maid can be used to describe female youth, their unmarried status, or even virginity, hinting that taking part in this festival marks a transition to womanhood. Comparisons between these dancing ladies in the Windmill Village and the movie Midsommar has often been drawn due to the visual similarities, the bright flowers, the frenzied dancing, and communal hysteria. While these are physical parallels, there may be deeper themes that connect the two. For those unfamiliar, Midsommar is a very impactful movie that explores many themes like loss, heartbreak, perception of reality, power dynamics, and acceptance, just to name a few. The protagonist, Dani, has a transformative experience during the May Queen dance. This scene's relevance to Elden Ring occurs when Dani and a group of women must dance, twirl, and spin around a maypole. Danny becomes increasingly dizzy until one of the women says something to her in Swedish that she does not understand. After a moment of slurring words back and forth in confusion, Danny realizes that she does in fact understand her companion, and the two celebrate. The most poignant line is said by her dancing sister: "We don't need words to talk, it's dancing." The ironic thing about this scene is that neither of them speak Swedish, English, or any conventional language at this moment, but they are actually making up words. They're speaking nonsense, but somehow have a mutual understanding through this nauseating union of dance. This is relevant in Elden Ring's depiction, where communication exists through dancing and raucous laughter, reminiscent of the euphoric camaraderie experienced in Midsommar. Despite the appearance of small structures, which seem to be maypoles, the absence of ribbons and feasts at the Windmill Village, it does suggest that this location was inspired by older, more primal roots, pagan rituals, witchcraft, or even historical phenomena like the Dancing Plague of 1518. But what does all of this have to do with the Godskins, I hear you ask? Well, a nearby ghost in the village gives us insight into this as he recounts his last moments. "I hear a festive melody. Oh, don't skin me, my hide is filthy, I swear." The dancing women assisted in the Godskins' skinning ritual. This is supported by the weapons they carry, ceremonial tools of different shapes and sizes, but all have something in common. They are all made of bones. And what must you remove before you can get to the bone? Skin. I think this Godskin apostle, either through negotiation or opportunism, struck a deal with the dancing women, recognizing the potential for harvesting human skin from their sacrificial rituals. The dancing women would have their festival and their bones, and the Godskins would secure another source of skin. While the precise targeting of male victims remains unclear, the exclusivity of male casualties suggests something deliberate in the selection process. Whether motivated by religion, the occult, or something else, there does seem to be a collaboration between the dancing women and the Godskins here. It's my personal belief that these are the faces and skins of gods and demigods. After all, why are they called Godskins, if not for their reputation of wearing the hides of divine beings? The skin of gods. And this is what the Gloom-Eyed Queen seemed to have been planning. This curious item tells us that she was raising the Godskins from birth with this agenda. The Gloom-Eyed Queen cradles newborn apostles swaddled in this cloth. Soon they will grow to become the death of the gods. Swaddling cloth is fabric wrapped around newborn babies to keep them tight and safe. This one is much more macabre. The face on this cloth seems much more warped and bloated. Its proportions actually remind me of the botchling from The Witcher, which, funnily enough, is an unwanted fetus that was not given proper burial. Anyway, the idea of Godskin babies being born and wrapped in the skin of other babies is really disturbing, especially if this was a demigod baby they skinned. The last line suggests that the Gloom-Eyed Queen intended for her followers to play a role in the god's demise. If she was indeed an Empyrean and a demigod child herself, her decision to live this life may have been driven by her desire to overthrow her own family. The implications of dispatching and wearing her victims would have likely incurred the wrath of Marika, which explains why there was a confrontation between the Gloom-Eyed Queen and Malekith, Marika's loyal protector. Interestingly, if you pursue Ranni's questline, e.g. her war counsellor repeatedly talks about the dark path of the Empyrean, which is really curious wording. He goes on to detail Empyreans as instruments of the two fingers, which is the main motive behind Ranni's plot. Ranni was defiant and rebelled against her predetermined role as an Empyrean and successor to Marika. This is why she stole a fragment of the Rune of Death, imbued it in the blades of assassins, and took down Godwyn and by extension herself, thus relinquishing her from the control of the Two Fingers, the Golden Order, everything. And this is what E.G. refers to as the dark path of an Empyrean. He doesn't say Rani's going down a dark path. He says it like her actions weren't unprecedented, but rather a broader pattern of Empyreans challenging established norms. In other words, Rani was not the first one to pull something like this. It happened before with the Glomide Queen. She was also an Empyrean. She also harnessed destined death, and she definitely killed other demigods and wore it as a badge of honor. I'll explain my reasons here. You see, Black Flame, that spell that the Godskins harness, used to be much more potent than its current state. The Black Flame could once slay gods, but when Malekith sealed destined death, the true power of the Black Flame was lost. This explains how the Godskins had the power to take down gods, take their skin, then wear it as a trophy. We honestly don't know how the Black Flame was created in the first place, but I have a couple of theories as to how. The first definitely has the Glomide Queen as the reason why, using this description to support this. The Apostles were all embraced by the Glomide Queen, and the Black Flame was their armour within. You get the image of this queen holding her followers like they were her children. She swaddled them, raised them, and gave them this motherly love that burned inside as a shield, the Black Flame's protection. Now here, I really do get a bit extreme with the theory, but tell me why we don't see any female Godskins. So, how are we making all these babies with innate Black Flame powers? Queen, you got anything to say for yourself? What I'm trying to say is that the absence of female Godskin nobles and apostles raises questions about their origin and reproduction. Did the Glomide Queen have this innate ability for Black Flame that her offspring inherited? Kind of like a curse, akin to how Melania was born with the curse of Scarlet Rot. The Glomide Queen may have been born with Black Flame within her, and she eventually discovered that she had the power to kill other godlike beings with it. In the art for Black Flame ritual, the flames in the middle, I might be seeing things, but the more I look, the more I see a figure in the centre. Someone with long hair and a puffed out dress, both arms outward and stretched, like they are holding something above their head. That something is small, wrapped in trailing cloth, like a newborn, swaddled babe being held up triumphantly by their proud mother. Reaching, I know, but it did make me think about the Glomide Queen's relationship with her apostles. Or did the Black Flame already exist in the apostles before they declared allegiance to being Godskins? The description of their armour tells us that the apostles, once said to serve destined death, are wielders of the god-slaying Black Flame, but after their defeat by Malekith, the Black Blade, the source of their power was sealed away. This tells us a lot. Firstly, that the apostles were once in service of Malekith. We can conclude this because destined death is another way of saying the rune of death, aka the ability to die, truly die, forever, and Malekith was in charge of protecting and controlling destined death. This explains why the demigods feared Malekith, because one step out of line and their immortality would be no more. So this explains the quote, "The apostles served destined death." They were apostles of Malekith, and because they had this connection, it's possible that the Black Flame was some kind of manifestation of destined death, hence why it had the power to take down gods. Now, if the Glomide Queen managed to sway the apostles to her cause, she would gain access to the Black Flame, harnessing its power to take down anyone she pleased. However, it's likely that Merica then discovered the Glomide Queen's chaotic behaviour and ordered Malekith to seal destined death's power, rendering the primary use of the Black Flame redundant. It would no longer kill any gods. This would also explain why the Godskin duo is in Farum Azula, as you fight Malekith here. The reason for their location could be explained in two ways. One is that these were the past Malekith-loyal Godskins when they were his apostles. However, this wouldn't explain their appearance, as they are clothed in Godskins, which is behaviour indicative of their allegiance to the Glomide Queen. What is more likely is that they are the remainders of the attack force that the Glowmide Queen led on Malekith, assuming that she was the instigator. When she was defeated, the minions that came to assist her now had nowhere to go. After all, Farum Azula is a strange place in the heart of a storm beyond time. Assuming that the Glowmide Queen knew how to get here in the first place, now with their leader gone, they were probably stranded. And as we know, Malekith then dispatched the Glowmide Queen. While technically it said defeated, we don't know if this was that she suffered a loss in battle, or the more extreme. Malekith removed her existence entirely, so she would no longer be a threat to the god kind. So she could still be out there in the world. There are a few theories that the Glowmide Queen could be someone that we know under a different name. One of the most popular theories I've seen is that Melina is actually the Glowmide Queen. I would recommend looking up other people's videos on this theory because it has been talked about a lot. For reference, a lot of this is reading between the lines. There is nothing to say she definitely is, but there is nothing to say that she definitely isn't. I'd like to give a short list of the reasons I've found for and against this theory. Reasons for Melina being the Glowmide Queen are: she is revealed to have a greyish-purple eye in the Frenzied Flame ending. You see her open the eye that was closed for the entirety of the game, and this could be described as the colour of dusk, as in Gloam, as in Glowmide Queen. Secondly, Melina is complicit in helping you take down multiple demigods as part of the game's story, making you a god killer and her an assistant to this, as she helps you level up, give you guidance and motivation to defeat the demigods, much like what the Glowmide Queen may have done. This segues into Melina's quest, which is about unleashing destined death back into the world, which would give the Black Flame its power back, ergo something the Glowmide Queen used to embrace. And lastly, Melina is implied to be Marika's daughter, which would make her a demigod and potentially an Empyrean, just like the Glowmide Queen. Reasons against this theory are: the colour of gloam or twilight has been heavily debated. I have seen so many comment threads of people arguing about Melina's eye colour. Depending on the season, weather, or where in the world you are, the period from sunset to nighttime goes through an array of colours. Ergo, the colour of twilight is heavily subjective, and Melina's eye might not fit this, depending on your interpretation. Secondly, Melina doesn't have any dialogue with or on the Godskins. I would have expected just a crumb of acknowledgement if she really was the Glowmide Queen. I mean, she's very forthcoming about her knowledge on Marika and the world. It seems strange that she doesn't let anything slip on the Godskins. Melina also wants you to become Elden Lord. She believes in you and supports you to relieve Marika and make your own world order. I would think that if she were the Glowmide Queen, she'd help you up until the last moment when she doesn't need you anymore and then claim power for herself. But what I honestly think about Melina and the Glowmide Queen theory is, yes, there are definitely some similarities, but there are some holes in these theories as well. The same can be said about the Marika is the Glowmide Queen theory, similar to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Marika being a tool of the Two Fingers, upholding the Golden Order in the day, and then at night being this evil version of herself where she would murder her children. I mean, we know she is not opposed to very extreme measures of family therapy, but I personally can't really get behind this theory. There is already a massive twist in her identity of her and Radagon being the same being. I highly doubt that there is this other possible subcategory of her being the Glowmide Queen as well, but I think it's fair to discuss some of the points. To support Marika being the Glowmide Queen, she is an Empyrean. She is more than a demigod. She was bestowed with godhood, which would support the Glowmide Queen also being chosen by the Fingers. Marika is also a queen, Queen Marika, which explains where the Glowmide Queen adopted this title from. And the most significant point I found interesting to think over is that you never see Marika and the Glowmide Queen mentioned in the same sentence together. Coincidence? This leads me to ask the question, if Marika is or was the Glowmide Queen, why did Malekith fight her, the one who he swore to protect? After all, these royal beasts are meant to be protectors, but also they act as limiters. We see this with Godfrey and Serosh. Serosh, whether he likes it or not, forces Godfrey to act and behave in certain ways approved by the Two Fingers. When Godfrey had enough and wanted to return to his true self, Hoarah, he tore Serosh apart, a display of his ferocity and innate barbaric nature, but also as a display of defiance and desire to break free. Additionally, Blythe had to struggle with his Two Fingers programming and his loyalty to Rani. When Rani chose the dark path of an Empyrean, it started a war inside of Blythe, having to fight every moment not to betray Rani, but also not to betray his creators. Ultimately, Blythe became hostile, which might explain why Malekith fought the Glow-Eyed Queen, if she is indeed Marika. He had to follow the orders from the Two Fingers to subdue the Glow-Eyed Queen, even if that meant harming her. So to conclude, maybe the Two Fingers sent Malekith to test him, to see if he could limit the Glow-Eyed Queen, which he did successfully. He defeated her. Therefore, she was converted into what we know now as Marika. This is all entirely speculation, but it is fun to theorycraft and be critical and uncover new perspectives. What I am inclined to believe is that the Glow-Eyed Queen is an entirely separate character, currently unknown to us. I like that there is a lot of mystery behind her existence, her background and timeline, with only a couple of item descriptions that mention her by her nickname. I find that Melina and Marika are complex enough characters without the need for the Glow-Eyed Queen backstory. That being said, I do stand to be proven wrong. Thank you everybody so much for watching. If you made it this far, I hope you enjoyed the lore play, the cosplay and the lore. If there is a particular character you'd like to see me try and cosplay along with their lore, please let me know in the comments below. I did my best to recreate some kind of Godskin apostle, but why does his nose look like that? I also wanted to say a massive thank you to Elias, who did the art for today's thumbnail. Absolutely amazing. Go follow him on Twitter and Instagram, as he does amazing FromSoft art, amongst other things. Go tell him what a great job he did at accommodating my request for today's thumbnail. So thank you again so much for watching, and thank you to my channel members and patrons.